Okay. So every seminar, I've been doing a little snippet of meditation. We taught about the drip meditation, the Wuji standing. That's thanks to Chris Burns. He's on here. Hey, Chris, you're the one that gets credit for
Welcome.
teaching everybody Wuji standing. So that's very cool to see you on here. Yeah, so Wuji standing is a great standing meditation. Highly recommended. And then we've done just this prolonged exhale as a meditation, and we've done another one. Oh, we shower. I do my shower meditation. Drip meditation is what I'm calling the Wuji because that's when I practice my Wuji standing. Every time I shower, I'll stand in the shower and drip dry. Just do my Wuji practice. So that's a good one. But today I thought we would do. Well, one idea was a Wim Hof. I just thought about one round of Wim Hof because that's been kind of my thing in the last few days. I like to cycle everything, right? But so I'm sitting in the sun every morning, like this recommends. You're gonna see that recommendation in my seminar today as we go through it, and get some sunlight on you. But then also, while I'm doing that, I'm grounding and I'm doing my Wim Hof breathing, and I'm doing the full. I just like listening to him. Just listen to his full 11-minute program. But rather than doing that, let's do one round of 30 breaths, followed by a prolonged breath hold. It might be a minute, and that's a wonderful time to spend meditating. As I'm listening, doing the Wim Hof process, I'm becoming aware of the body, listening. He says, some things. So maybe I'll say some things as we do it. Oh, I shouldn't be blocking the microphone. The microphone's going through here. It's right on my chest.
Can everyone else hear? Okay.
One person said they're having trouble hearing.
Yeah, yes, I can hear quite well.
Oh,
I
okay.
can hear.
All right. Very good. Thank you. So 3 rounds of 30 breaths. And we'll do them slower, but when I breathe in, let it go. I like to hum it out. Breathe in and sometimes make some noise too. Wuji. Now, huge breath. Go with the flow of the breath. Wim Hof says make it circular. No pause between inhale and exhale. I'm not going to count perfect. Breathe in. Breathe out. Full breath. Huge breath. Let it go. Huge breath. Let it go. Deep breathing. Up my lymphatic system. Huge breaths. Huge breaths. Nitric oxide being made. The inhales. And the humming. I like to raise my shoulders, get a fully breath. Give me 5 more. Give it all you got. Huge breaths. Last one now. Fully in. Hold it. Squeeze it a moment. Let it go. If you get a lightheaded a little bit, that's a good thing. A little tingly, that's good. If you feel your body temperature is changing, that's okay. Hold it out as long as you can. No need to breathe. Feel your body. Become aware of your heartbeat. Slow it down. Just be this moment. Become aware of the blood flowing through your vessels. When you feel the urge to breathe, we'll breathe in together. Huge breath. 3, 2, big breath. And you hold that breath. So I'm going to squeeze my pelvic floor and abs, push extra fluid up to my head. And let it go. That's one round. Typically, Wim Hof sessions, at least 3 rounds of 30 breaths. It can be a really awesome reset for oxygenation of your body, for stem cell activation, for carbon dioxide tolerance. I found out I could hold my breath for 3 minutes. I was surprised. 3-minute breath after that relaxation and seriously breathing. In any case, meditation, a great hack for all of life, sending that peace within your body, sending that regenerate signal. And of course, as we transition now into our sleep concept, the sleep optimization, that's really what it's about, is restoring your body's potential, letting it heal, letting it regenerate. If you can't have good sleep, then you can't have true healing. So if I come over here, got my next slide. So my book is out. I got a copy right here. This is the one that says not for resale. You got one here. Just came out. You can go online and order it. I got several here. If you want me to sign a copy, you bring me one, or ask me to bring you one. Maybe I'll carry them around for a little while. But there's me jumping, dunking, and I think everybody on here knows me pretty well, so I'm not going to spend too long on it. But there's some fun things to learn, a little about who I am. All right, so sleep being not just downtime, but active maintenance. You understand your brain is, actually recovering and when it's busy, right? Every other wellness habit is based on your ability to sleep to a degree. Because if you can't regenerate and heal by your sleep, then some of these things can't take effect. So you notice there it says deep sleep is your lymphatic process. We're talking about pumping your lymph with your breath work and with your shaking and your bouncing and breathing and stroking even. But the lymphatic system is your brain and lymphatic system, basically. That's the brain detox that happens during your deep sleep. That's the only time it happens. I think one thing missing in my whole seminar is all the downsides of when people don't sleep well, all the performance problems, all the cognition problems, all the inflammation increasing. It's just the sleep is really, really essential. You don't have growth hormone come out. You don't have your other testosterone and other hormones work well. You don't have your memory consolidated. So people, memory-wise and cognition-wise go way downhill when you're not sleeping well. And of course, who wants to be in pain and not have their brain work, right? Well, one of the best answers is sleep. So that's where, if we're doing our foundation right, nutrition, hydration, movement, it's all not going to work very well if we're not sleeping. And of course, it says here, before we invented the light bulb, we were sleeping 10 hours of sleep or more. That's a lot. And even after, 1879, 7 hours, and then it gets split badly. That's because we invented this light bulb. And that begins to cause even more problem. We have these screens like I'm sitting in front of right now. And so allowing that proper circadian rhythm of cortisol coming up in the morning and then going down, and melatonin causing that regeneration. It's not just about sleep. Melatonin is your antioxidant. Just like glutathione is a master antioxidant, so is, you're sharing. Thanks, Lisa. Thank you, Don. So you missed my slides. I got to back up now. I'm going to back up a little bit and show these other cool slides. That's what I was talking about there. So the sleep architecture, making sure that's right. That was slide 1. That's really important of regenerating. And there's the book being out. A little about me, the page. And this is where I was on right now. And I was on the last part talking melatonin. Melatonin heals GERD, reflux, and other issues. It's very powerful. It's also, like I said, a master antioxidant. So it gives a regenerative signal for your body. And so melatonin, my one friend says, hey, you should take a high dose regularly. I like to pulse everything a little bit. I don't want my receptors to get down regulated, even though they've proven that melatonin is one of the things that does not get shut off by exogenous intake. So if I take it outside, it doesn't stop my body's own production. So that's pretty cool, but there may be some receptor changes. That's why I like to cycle everything a little bit. But melatonin is a powerful thing, not just for sleep. So as we go into this, most people are not having their temperature of the room correct. To lower your body's core temperature, that has to happen by 1 to 2 degrees in this shape and maintain your sleep. So what you can do is, like it says, engineer the drop. Don't just hope for it. There's ways you can get your body to drop its temperature. The hot bath or shower, 60 to 90 minutes before bed. Cool bedroom. Those are some temperature ranges that you want to target, 62 to 67 degrees. Interesting one, socks on at bedtime. Now for me, I like to make sure my feet are warm. If my feet are cold, I can't fall asleep. So for me, making sure my feet are warm, and that's where actually I've been doing foot baths at night. That's been helping a little bit with sleep. And here's a clinical pearl, this 2 a.m. reset. It's going to show up again. This mammalian dive reflex you can elicit by dunking your face in cold water for up to 30 seconds. That can instantly calm that wired nervous system. There's another hack that's probably more powerful and important for that 2 a.m. wake up. We're going to talk about that some more. But so the light piece is really, really significant. It's setting that circadian rhythm. And that your light cells in your eye, of course, the retinal cells are really specialized for that blue rich light, and that resets that suprachiasmatic nucleus. That's part of your brain that says, hey, it's morning. And that is setting off that cortisol curve really well. But after dark, if you have that same light coming in, it messes that up. It messes up that cortisol melatonin balance. So here we are. First thing in the morning, you get that sunrise. And you have no sunglasses, right? Your strongest daily signal, getting that light directly in your eyes. And what I like to do is actually the sun's right at me, and I move my eyes looking around the sun to potentially get the light of the sun on different vessels in my eyes. That's a kind of an interesting hack I've been playing with while I'm getting ready to do my Wim Hof breathing. And then here's the suggestion: is after 8 p.m. Some people recommend, and I've got some lights that are red bulbs. I haven't installed them in our house yet. I don't know about a bedroom with red. I don't know. We almost have to have two switches, or you can buy the fancy bulbs. You switch it on once, it's one light color. You turn it off, you switch it on again, the other light color comes on. So there's fancy bulbs you can buy like that are really cool. And then of course the screen will, if you get the lenses. If you have a screen at night, you ought to be wearing the real type of blockers, which are ones that are stronger amber orange, that will block all of the blue light, not just some streams. You can grab the other glass out of here. I'm going to show those too. But this is, for instance, see how dark and orange those guys are. These are ones I wear at night, especially if I'm sitting in front of a screen. But anytime after dark, I try and put these on. Now there's this kind, and you notice that's clear. And if you put this in front,
screen sharing.
they might go through both. But the different colors are important. This one blocks just the highest wavelengths of blue, and this one's going to block all of them. So you want that orange colored lens. So grounding, we did a whole seminar about grounding and EMFs. And so I don't have to beat this too down, but this is really powerful to have some kind of connection with the earth while you sleep. Electrons from the earth coming in your body, neutralizing free radicals, neutralizing inflammation, lowering the viscosity of your blood. It's very, very powerful. So the grounding piece, like we have a throw at night that's got silver threads in it. We made sure it's plugged into our ground so that we're grounding while we're sleeping. That's a really powerful one. So here's the 2 a.m. wake up thing, the blood sugar. The reason that liver glycogen can dip, and it's not just liver glycogen also, but it can be a liver that's not working well that causes this problem, because if it's working well and storing enough glycogen and sensing blood sugar drop, it will slowly release it. It's when that liver is burdened with a lot of other things. So a lot of my colleagues say that the liver is what causes that 2 a.m. wake up. So the brain reads that as an emergency. If the liver's not working right, and it raises that cortisol, and especially adrenaline, which spikes up. When adrenaline spikes up, that's when you wake up wired and not rested, and that 2 a.m. So she's going to flip through here for you. Vicky just walks in. So one of the things that's a cool hack, and my friend just validated this for me just not even an hour or two ago, is that the 1 teaspoon of raw honey plus a pinch of salt before bed can help stabilize that glycogen and restore it, such that you'll have a slow release of that glucose, and the trace minerals in that sea salt can support that adrenal function in a gentle way, and he's sleeping better. So that's a really cool hack. I'm actually looking forward to trying this one, because that's one thing I sometimes challenge with, is the wake up late at night. That might be also coming from eating late at night. In any case, so what you did mention there, that if you have diabetes or have blood sugar management issues, you got to be careful, of course, with your sugar intake. Now here's glycine. Glycine is an amazing amino acid. Not only does it help rebuild glutathione, but it also is a calming neurotransmitter. It inhibits some of that sympathetic tone. It helps support parasympathetic, the regeneration. And so then it can also allow you to sleep better. It says studies show that it'll fall asleep faster. You're getting your repair bonus because that glutathione is working, and you're getting that temperature drop, pulling the heat out of the middle of your or out of your extremities, and letting that drop come down even better. Glycine can help with that. So 3 to 5 grams, 30 to 60 minutes before bed. And so we have some powdered glycine. It also can help blood sugar for some people. So that's one to consider, using some glycine. So we talked about EMFs along with grounding. And the most important thing is keeping it far away from you. And of course, if you have something like a wearable, I have a wearable on my finger. I don't know if you can see that on camera. I have the Oura Ring here. It's something that I put on airplane mode. So it's not transmitting right now. It only transmits if I put it back in its charging station. So that's one of the things you can do is to try and get rid of those wearables. And what this suggests is to keep moving away from your body if possible. But the most powerful thing would be to de-energize the bedroom circuit. That means have an electrician set a breaker where you can shut off your whole room. That'd be the most powerful thing. But all those things can work. And like it says here, routers can be put on a timer, so they'll go off automatically for you. We have a light switch that's installed to the outlet that controls our router. So every time before I go to bed at night, I'm switching my router off so that our house is not inundated with as much Wi-Fi. So that can be powerful. Now, how you breathe can matter a lot too. That's where these people have come up with a mouth breathing strip. And you just close your mouth with this strip so you can only breathe through your nose. And that is a hack a lot of people like. Something you should definitely give a try to. And that can prevent that mouth breathing that causes all these problems. The dry airways, jaw position, even some sleep apnea. So it's a cheap, easy fix for some people that can be really big. I've also had some time with, there's a little magnet you can stick on the side of your nose, and then it pulls it apart. A dilator, nasal strip dilator type thing. That can help as well sometimes. Now, if it's really bad, you might need a referral, for someone who can actually look into your nasal cavities and see if you're getting blocked. That can be in there as well. Now, I also have carrying around with me my nasal spray product. This is Sinupro, one of many I like. But there's other ways you can do it with like a neti pot or whatever, and you wash your sinus out at night to help improve breathing while you sleep. That can be really important. So some people think alcohol is going to help them sleep. The research and proof is it doesn't. So maybe if you can have alcohol out earlier and or, cycle it so you don't have it all the time, not a good deal. Once in a while, maybe, depending on how much you want to stress your body, but recognize it's a hormetic stressor to your liver especially. It's pretty much a poison. So some of my colleagues just say avoid it altogether. But if you're going to have one drink here and there, it's probably not the end of the world. And actually some research suggests it can help. So there's back and forth a little on that. But what it's saying here is that the GABA effects knock you out and they don't produce the restorative architecture that really good sleep is going to create. That's why it says sedation does not equal sleep. And then, of course, it causes the REM rebound. Later in the night, you might have fragmented REM sleep, vivid dreams, and getting awakened. And then that key is it blocks vasopressin. That's the hormone that makes it so you don't have to create urine while you're sleeping. So you don't have to wake up with a full bladder a bunch of times. And so that'd be important to not drink right before bed a ton, one thing, and or, avoiding alcohol, making you wake up. And one drink, it even says, flattens your HRV. So HRV is your heart rate variability. And that's your body's ability to deal with stress. The difference, the time between each heartbeat. So it's not supposed to be exactly even. The variability says your body's capable of dealing with stress. It's bouncing around a little bit. That's actually one of the things that's measured by the wearable, like the Oura Ring, is measuring a heart rate variability while I'm sleeping. So that's pretty good. But yeah, deal with the stress of your body so you can sleep well. Now, what's funny, this chronotype thing is really cool. This is where you get to know something individual about yourself. And interestingly, it is genetic. And then you can work with it when you understand it. It's driven largely by this PER3 gene. So that controls your chronotype. And there's this Dr. Michael Bruce. He's got his animal system. You can be a lion, a bear, a wolf, or a dolphin. And the idea is that you don't fight your gently, but you work with it maybe a little bit at a time to get toward the sleep time that you need to be ideal. And there's got the different types of those. There's a quiz you can take for free online to find out what kind of sleep type you are. Interestingly, it says 15 to 20% are lions. That's the early to bed people up with lots of energy. 50% are the bear. That's where they sleep and wake with the sun, 8 hours of sleep. But it's another group. And then the wolf. I'm trying to decide whether I'm a bear or wolf. I'm not sure. But there it is. The wolf is a little more nighttime, the night owl person. And then the dolphin's the rare 10%. That's the ones who really have trouble sleeping and are more insomniacs. So that's interesting that it flips the cortisol curve a little bit. And there's ways you can work with this to a degree, and there's some more hacks that are coming up here. So here's one of them right here. Maybe you want to grab that, but this is one I carry in my clinic now, is this mushroom gummies. So they got some sleep support in there, the different mushrooms that can help that. The reishi, the lion's mane, cordyceps, shiitake mushrooms, powerful for your immune system, for resetting your stress system in your body, cordyceps for stamina and strength, but also has in there, like it says, the melatonin, the L-theanine, the chamomile, and the lavender. So those are also powerful herbs that can help, and amino acids like theanine that can help calm the nervous system. So this is especially recommended to the bears and wolves who'd rather drift off than doze. And I would say beware of being dependent on something though. I like cycling my sleep aids just like I like cycling everything else. So I used mushroom gummies last night, but I hadn't had them for 2 weeks, So that's just for instance. Sometimes I have, we should show the other magnesium threonate. That's another people. Want to grab that out of my bag? In any case, that's another one that's not on here. But the next one I have too is the sleep gummy. So by Optimal Health Systems. Who doesn't like a gummy? In any case, this one's got the pre-digested melatonin, plus the passion flower, plus a little vitamin B6. And so what's recommended here is for lions and dolphins who need the assisted onset without a mega dose that's going to cause a hangover. So I personally don't have hangovers with high dose melatonin. I know some people do. I can take melatonin during the day, and I'll feel it kind of affect my brain a little bit, but I can stay awake. It doesn't knock me out. So I'm not sure what that's about, but I know some of my colleagues say, hey, melatonin multiple times can be good. So I've experimented with that. In any case, the sleep gummy from OHS is also another sleep aid that you might cycle, along with some of the other ideas that we're going to show you right now, like the hyperthermia. So the hyperthermia, I've played with this a little bit, and it worked really well for me to take a sauna, like 60 to 90 minutes before going to bed. Just 15 to 20 minutes in the sauna, set your body temperature really high, and then when you get out, your body just goes, oh, it's time to cool down. And when it cools down, guess what? That's the signal to sleep. So that can work pretty good. And the other benefit, like it says, heat shock proteins, infrared sauna, powerful. So many things detoxification-wise that can happen. So that's a fun one to experiment with. Sauna, like it says, or a hot bath. That's where you consider getting a hot tub, right? It's another great way to heat your body up. Now here, I almost did this one for our meditation, but the mechanical trick for the breath, the oversized nervous system here, calming it with that 4-7-8 breath, and the key, like it says, the extended exhale. That's one of my new hacks. Breathe in 4. I haven't been holding it for 7 necessarily. That's not as important as the exhale. Really long, slow exhale tells your body you're safe. So practicing a long, slow exhale can be a fun tool. And there's like the optional upgrade. Some people have great results using a weighted blanket. The pressure, 10% of your body weight. For some people, that parasympathetic tone is increased with that weighted blankets. So that's something to consider as well. Fancy, something to consider along with weighted blanket made me think of the people that have special beds that actually cool your body. You have a bed that you can control the temperature of it. So that's an interesting idea. I've never had one of those fancy beds that you can control the temperature. Some people use those beds to just hack their sleep that actually controls their temperature. Here's one I have used sometimes. My mind is racing at night. I'm thinking about this thing and I can't get it out of my mind. This is where you pull the journal out, or I pull something out, speaking to a phone or whatever, and just get it out of your head so you don't have to keep having that loop go on as you're sleeping. Sometimes just a reminder, hey, I got to do this tomorrow. Make sure you write it down, whatever it is. So that's where the sleep journal can prevent that rumination. And it said, like I said, rumination isn't necessarily anxiety. You don't have to label it that. You say, hey, I'm thinking about something. That's okay. But then a good way to get it out of your head onto some paper. Takes its physical action, and like it says, close the book. When you close the book, it closes it for your brain, says, oh, I can sleep now. So here's another one that's good. to be aware of that can really mess up your sleep is coffee, or caffeine of any kind. You want to cut it off before noon for, I'd say, 90% of people. Because it takes at least 8 hours, depending on your genetics, to get rid of most of that caffeine. And that's really going to mess with your sleep. I know chocolate can do that for me too. So being careful with the amount of chocolate and caffeine you have during your day can be a big key. People who don't sleep well or have heart palpitations, other things, one of the things sometimes is just get the caffeine decreased in your life or out completely. I like to be not dependent, so I can have days where I don't have any caffeine or any caffeine at all. So I cycle through that as well. And like it says, here's some replacements. What can you do instead of the coffee? Well, get that morning sunlight right in your eye. Go for a walk. 90 seconds. That's a really short one. Cold water on the face. The breath cycle. Eating. Those are some things you can do. Get some energy going. Get some movement. I like movement. Or more movement. A set 90-second walk. So instead of a 90-second walk, what I might do is, let's do it right now. It's been sitting for a while. I'm going to do a 5-second decompression. My spine. I've been sitting too long. Okay, a little breath and move my hips. And then the other thing that I'm going to do, really get into it, I'm going to get off my butt and do 10 air squats. Let's get up and do 10 air squats. So that's a movement thing I might do just throughout the day. Time to get an exercise snack in. Hey, I ate, and I'm not going to go. I want to sit and read a book after I ate, or I want to watch a show. I'm going to do 10 air squats before I go do that. Get my body moving. So good. Get your body moving. There's nothing that replaces exercise. And like I said in my movement seminar, 10 air squats every 45 minutes was better than walking for half an hour. So cool, I don't have to go for a walk for half an hour if I don't want to. If I want to, I'm going to enjoy it. But I can also get my air squats in. So don't forget about this important mineral magnesium. That's our next slide. A mineral deficiency that can look like anxiety, can cause restless legs, can cause cramping, can cause night waking, can cause a tired but wired feeling, the eyelid flutter, okay? There's a lot of other symptoms. It does like so many things. It's the most common mineral deficiency in the United States. We take it out of all our foods when we process them, ultra processed food especially. So magnesium is a really important one. Most people could use more of it. So there's some different forms. We've got the glycinate, that's good, gentle. The threonate, crosses your blood-brain barrier. The chloride for foot soaks can be good. And it says just avoiding nitric oxide here. Oxide is the cheap version. And really all that's going to do is get you to go to the bathroom. So it is useful in that case if you're having to have your bowels move. The oxide can be good. But, it's gently going to reduce that excitatory glutamate chatter in your brain. It's going to calm and support your GABA to turn on your parasympathetic switch. And if you want to do that warm water magnesium chloride thing, that's going to be a double ritual for you. So magnesium, magnesium, magnesium. Just kind of like you live in your liver, you can't live without magnesium. So here's some more ones that you can consider rotating. And I have this in my formula, the Formula 303. I guess it's not mentioned here, but that's what could be on this slide is Formula 303. That's a natural muscle relaxer. It has the valerian, the passion flower, it has quad strength magnesium, homeopathic. So these are some ones you can cycle through to control your stress with these 5 herbal allies. And swapping around, it says, like suggest 1 herb weekly. You don't have to do all 5 forever. You want to cycle that a little bit. And there can be interactions. And of course, my favorite thing would be muscle test. Make sure it tests well for you. And then you can cycle those and make them work. Be careful of lemon balm. If you have a thyroid issue that's significant, that can be an interaction. All right, so once again, cold. There's some times and ways to do cold. It's surprising you can do a sauna and cool you down and then make your body cool down for bed, but you can also do some cold exposure, short cold exposure, like finishing your shower with a short cold blast. Or the dunk in you're dunking your face for 30 seconds. That's the same trick. It's to get that 2 a.m. reset going. And they're saying this is maybe 30 minutes before bed, whereas the sauna was 60 to 90 minutes before bed, right? So that'll let the body have time to settle and rebound. And that's what you're looking for is the rebound. Not for everybody. Pausing and skipping and cycling these can be good, but that's another one. And then here's the tracking bit. So like there's a lot of new wearables, the Apple Watches and Auras and Whoops and all these different tools that can measure your sleep. But like it's saying here, it's like 95% of that is marketing. So one thing that happens, people get fixated on these sleep issues, and they actually have a term for that now, orthosomnia. People are just so obsessed about their sleep, measuring every night, chasing a better score. They mess up their natural sleep because they're so obsessed about it. So, like the suggestion here is, what's cool about this Oura Ring device I'm using is I can shut it off. I put it in airplane mode, and I may not check it for 3 or 4 or 5 days or a week. It has a week-long battery. I don't have to check all the time. If I want to be interested in how it's going, that's fine. But I did give it to my son for a couple months, so I could just kind of forget about it. It's like, oh, I want to see how my sleep's doing, and I want to see if this I'm using a pulse magnetic field device when I'm sleeping. I'm curious, how's that affecting my, my numbers? So once in a while, I'll cycle through things, and it can potentially help you track the variables of your sleep. Like I suggested here, the golden rule of experimentation. Ideally, you change only one thing at a time. I'm pretty bad at that, but one thing at a time, give it 2 weeks, see how it did. You change everything all at once, that's hard to figure out what's actually working, right? So it can be useful, but don't get obsessed with it. All right, that's the bottom line of that. So here's the handout I would give you potentially of the timeline of getting ready for sleep. Okay, so ideally you're not going to eat at least 90 minutes before bed. You might have a hot shower or sauna. You can get on the red lights or put on your red light glasses. Okay, and then the magnesium foot soak might come with some warm water a few minutes later. And then 60 minutes before bed, you're journaling. You turn off your phone. You're trying to get that rumination to stop. Maybe you're grounding. Ideally, your bed's going to ground. You don't have to go outside and go barefoot through the ground, but that's not a bad idea. A little breath work. That's what the next thing is, the 4-7-8. Get that breath work going. Maybe dunk your face 30 minutes before bed. I have never tried this one, so that's a good one to try. And then here's the next bit, the mouth taping the glycine. Those are some times to try that. And I'm definitely going to go, I'm going to see how the honey salt does for me with my 2 a.m. waking. That's the one I'm going to choose from this program. And then lights out, go to bed. That's about it. Simple as can be. So recognize that there are limits to these protocols. And that is like, if you have sleep apnea, you have a partner, you're waking up and still have problems, the restless legs, iron, if that you're having some real serious problems, we want to coordinate with a practitioner who can help you, whether it's changing the shape of your jaw with some dental work or having a sleep appliance, doing something to open up your airways in your nose, whatever it is. These are some things you can watch for. If you're really having a complete pattern and still aren't getting your sleep that you need, you might want to look at some of these other areas and get some help, right? So some things need a clinician, not a sleep stack or new hack, right? Beautiful. So some of these questions that we're getting, we could answer for you. Hopefully, if some of them already got, people tell me all the time, I wake up at 2 a.m. What do I do? Well, now you got some ideas. You tried melatonin. Well, there's lots of other things that could be going on, right? And then what I like this one here, if you sleep 8 hours, you still feel terrible. What do? Well, there's some ideas like to really fix the architecture of how you sleep and other pieces to make it sleep more effectively. And once again, sometimes it's severe enough you need a referral. Beautiful. So beautiful. I'm open to questions if there are some. You can unmute yourself and ask a question or type it in the chat. We can go into some detail about that fun. Appreciate y'all's attention. I know it's been a pleasure to teach this stuff. And the Watching the Sunset was in one of these slides. I'll put that in the comments there. Yeah, it was in one of those slides at the night thing. Where was that? Talk about watch the sunset. When it comes to it was one of the early ones. So maybe I didn't spend enough time on it, but maybe the early slide here had that and flip it through. But watching the sunset is definitely one of those things that gives a signal to your body to sleep. And so that's a consideration. Where is that one? It said watch the sunset.
I have a question, Dr. Gilmore.
Go ahead.
Just something you said about, the grounding. So I knew about being on soil or grass, but you said concrete as well? Did you?
Yeah, concrete grounds. And so does regular dirt. Grass would be the best.
Yeah.
Concrete's not great, but it still is grounding.
Oh,
Rocks,
okay.
like if you're grounding on the rocks or a beach, it's rocks and sand, it'll ground you.
Mhm.
Asphalt's worse, but concrete's better. It's
Okay.
conductive. You're not supposed to set batteries. If you have a car battery, you don't want it to die. You don't set it on concrete.
Okay.
So yeah, I know it does that.
Yeah, thank you.
Beautiful question. Any other questions? Well, like I said, it's been a pleasure teaching the class tonight. I'm looking forward to hearing people sleeping better. If you have someone you know that needs some help with sleep and or getting some problems, don't hesitate to refer them our way. And if you get a chance to get a copy of my book, you're welcome to come online or request that I bring one for you, and I'll do that. We'll look forward to seeing you all in the clinic, and may your day be filled with infinite love and gratitude. So it is.
Thank you. It was fun.
Thank you.
Good night, y'all.
Thank you.
Good night.
There's a lot to know, isn't there? That's why it took a minute. Beautiful.
How's your sleep? Oh, wait.